In this tutorial, we will discuss appropriateness. By appropriateness, we mean whether the source is appropriate for an academic paper on the topic. Some sources you might find may be written for students in high school or lower, including children's books. A good way to tell is to look at the page count, which is usually limited for children's books, as well as subject headings. If you are in doubt about an item, check the subject headings for it in the library catalog. If it says juvenile literature or juvenile fiction, then it is a children's book and probably not a good source for your academic paper. That's not to say such books are useless, but unless you're talking about children's books specifically for your research, you probably don't want to use it as a research tool for your paper. The opposite is also true. A resource can be written for professionals and professors, those who are doing heavy study in the field itself. Usually these resources use specialized terminology that is generally only understood by professionals and experts in the field. That is not to say that you could not understand it, but you may not want to invest the time in a resource that is difficult to understand, since these resources are written about a very narrow topic, and you probably don't want to spend time trying to understand a difficult work only to find out it is not relevant to your research. Here are some additional characteristics of resources to keep in mind when evaluating for appropriateness. Make sure that the resource you're looking at is in English. Sometimes the record for an item, like a book or article, will have the bibliographic information translated, such as the abstract, but actually the resource itself is in another language. You do not want to find a book on OhioLink, request it, and get it a week before your paper is due just to find out it was in Chinese. Usually the record will tell you if the resource is in English or another language. Next, is the resource too general or too specific? Like mentioned in the tutorial on coverage, one thing you want to make sure is that the resource is providing enough coverage for you for your research topic. Is the information you are looking for in a resource just a paragraph or a whole chapter? That could be the difference between too general and just enough. The opposite is also true. A resource can be too specific. For example, if you are doing a research paper on the origins of communism in China and you find a book that focuses only on one of the key figures in the origins of communism in China, that might be too specific. Finally, does the resource have the information you need? There are several ways to check. You can look in the library record, check the Content Cafe if available, or use Google Books or Amazon. Google Books and Amazon sometimes allow you to look inside of the book, so you can look at actual pages in the book if you don't have it available to you right in front of you. That way you can see if it is appropriate for your research. Now let's take a look at a resource that would probably be considered inappropriate. Here we are in Academic Search Complete. Now let's say you are doing a research paper on the history of U.S. policy towards Yugoslavia. So why don't we go ahead and do a phrase search for U.S. policy and add in Yugoslavia in the other box. Search. And this first one looks good. The new 1948-49 U.S. policy towards Yugoslavia, origins and results. And the title says it is in English. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in since this article looks good. However, as you can see, the article is not in English. It is in Russian. They translated the abstract and the keywords, but the text itself appears to be only in Russian. Even though the title of the article back in my results list said English. Now how can I make sure that this is actually in English the next time I look for results? So why don't we go back to the record. And here it says language Russian. That's what I should have looked at first. So I should have made sure that it was actually in English. So just be aware that not all of the articles in Academic Search Complete and the other databases are necessarily in English. Most of them will be, but you just want to double check. In the next couple tutorials, we will be bringing all of these criteria together to evaluate a resource in each of the main formats: periodicals, books, and websites.